How about that cigar?
How about that cigar?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Drew Estate Cigar Studios for episode 169 of How About That Cigar Live.
69.
Thank you so much for joining us live on Facebook, live on YouTube, and if you're listening after the fact on the audio podcast, guys, thank you so much for listening when you drive down the road or work out, whatever it is you do, when you listen to your favorite audio podcast. Thanks so much for making How About That Cigar a part of it. And we are here, like I said, in the Drew Estate Cigar Studios, and let's talk about the new Freestyle Live special edition broadcast. On September 28th, Drew Estate will unveil an entirely new premium cigar brand, and the company is giving consumers the ability to experience it before the formal launch in the upcoming Freestyle Live event pack. The packs will be available at participating retailers nationwide starting on August 18th. 10,000 of the packs have been prepared, each with an MSRP of $39.99. Every Freestyle Live event pack will include 3 unbanded new premium cigars, a 3-cigar case, a cigar cutter with cigar rest, and a Freestyle Live flask. Each Freestyle Live event pack also includes a QR code, which the purchaser may use to enter a sweepstakes for a chance to win incredible prizes. From a pewter ashtray designed by Subculture Studios, a Gibson Les Paul Dark Limited guitar, and a 2022 Black Dodge Charger. And participating retailers can also win big and are automatically entered for a chance to win great prizes as well. Learn the identity of the mystery cigar by tuning in on September 28th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, only on Drew Estate's Freestyle Live YouTube channel and Drew Estate's Facebook page. Starting on August 18th, you can find a list of participating retailers at drewestate.com/Freestyle Live 2022. So, back again in the Drew Estate Cigar Studios. Garrett is on the road this evening. Where are you broadcasting from?
Well, I am broadcasting from northern Chicago area at Norwood Royal Cigars. I was here a few weeks ago. Those who haven't been to this humidor, destination humidor for sure, one of the largest in the Midwest. And I am grateful to Vic, who always allows me to come to his lounge and do the podcast when I'm in town.
Very cool. Gotta love that. You gotta love it when you find a little home away from home. You know, it's when you travel, you know, sometimes you find those shops that are just you know, they feel, they have that feel like it's almost like your home cigar lounge, but it can be hundreds and sometimes thousands of miles away. I don't want to talk about it, but I will. The Minnesota Twins are in a horrible downward spiral.
Oh no!
They're just and Justin's sitting here like I don't care. Justin doesn't give 2 shits about baseball, but
what's that?
What is it?
Vikings Stadium.
A Vikings shirt? Oh, that's adorable. That's adorable.
That started already?
Preseason started, guys. I'm in football mode already since the Twins. I mean, they might make the playoffs. If they do,
if they do, they'll lose in the first round.
They will absolutely lose in the first round. So I'm already switching to football mode, and I'm in deep in football mode. I'm looking at fantasy stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for football.
Yeah, I know we're going to be in a fantasy league together, and I have not had the time to, honestly, I haven't looked at anything yet. So my draft may be like random guess, like pick whoever's at the best available and just go that route. Because I haven't had time to do any scout. Yeah, Cam Newton and Sage Rosenfels is always one. I throw his name in there just because, first of all, because it's a funny name, and second, I don't think he's played in 10 years, 15
probably
years. Yeah. And guys, I'm seeing so many of our friends in the comments. Thank you guys for being with us and watching the show tonight. Let us know in the comments what you're drinking and what you're smoking along with us while we have the show going on. So Garrett mentioned football. Preseason football is underway. The Vikings and Packers both lost, but it's preseason. It's really, it doesn't mean a lot, but it is cool to see some of the up and coming players that could possibly, be the next big thing. And there were some, there were some good plays made, I think, by the Packers. I didn't see, I watched the Packers replay highlights on YouTube. I didn't see the Vikings game highlights. What do you see?
Defense. That our defense is looking real nasty.
Okay, that's good. That's good, because that was a rough spot for you guys last year. So
yeah, and say what you want about Kirk Cousins. Obviously, he didn't play. I don't know if he would have played anyway, but he was on COVID protocol. But the defense was the really shining point for me. Several sacks, couple new line guys, defensive ends, and our secondary looks really, really solid. So
okay, nice. We've got one of our draft picks at wide receiver. Of course, his name escapes me right now. He had a great
he did
catch.
Yeah,
and actually he had more than just the touchdown catch. He had a few good plays overall, and looks like the return game is coming back, which the Packers have been really kind of weak on the return game for the last 10 years or so. So that would be nice to see that improve. Defense was a little shaky, but there were 0 starters out there.
Right.
So it's hard to say,
Yep.
In San Francisco, I don't remember his name either, but one of the quarterbacks, the younger, draft pick guys that they had in there, was making a couple just ridiculous plays at the end of toward the end of the game. That I saw some stuff that really reminded me of, just young, hungry quarterbacks like Matt Stafford and Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. I mean, he just really had some of that kind of just get free and find an open guy and just whip the ball down the field. So that was kind of cool to see. But I don't know, it's preseason. We'll see how it goes.
The Vikings play the 49ers this Saturday, I think, too, right?
I think so. Yeah. And the regular season opener,
oh boy, it's gonna be a big one.
Vikings and Packers. So that's going to be a good season opener. Yeah. And I want to remind all our viewers about Cigars and Baseball. Again, this is a fantastic event that's going to be on September 8th at CHS Field in St. Paul, Minnesota. So and it literally is Cigars and Baseball. It's all held on the concourse that surrounds this beautiful baseball field. There will be a baseball game happening on the field during the event. There's a lot of great cigar companies there, and local restaurants with their food, and local breweries and distilleries. So go to cigarsandbaseball.com to check that out. All the proceeds go to the Miracle League, which puts together baseball facilities for kids with disabilities, so they still have a chance to play the game that they love.
And how about that cigar will be there live?
And how about that cigar? We'll be there live covering the event and talking to all the great people during that time. So please don't miss out on that. And I think it's time to jump right in to get our special guest on the show. So it is time for our special guest of the evening. And as always, on How About That Cigar Live, special guests are brought to us by our good friends at Corona Cigar Company.
Corona Cigar Company and coronacigar.com, the internet's largest and easiest to use virtual cigar store. Corona Cigar Company offers you the finest handmade cigars, humidors, and cigar accessories at the absolute lowest possible price. You'll also find unique and limited cigars containing Florida sun-grown tobacco. As a proud American, president and founder of Corona Cigar Company, Jeff Borshowitz, believed it was possible to bring cigar tobacco farming back to Florida. At Corona Cigar Company and coronacigar.com, you'll find the best selection anywhere in the world of cigars containing this special Florida sun-grown tobacco. If you live in Florida or are just visiting, be sure to visit any of the great Corona Cigar locations in downtown Orlando, Sand Lake, Lake Mary, and also the Davidoff of Geneva Lounge in Tampa. For more info on all of that, please visit coronacigar.com and floridasungrown.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you would please put your hands together and welcome back to How About That Cigar Live, a great friend of the show and a great friend of the cigar world from Tatuaje, Pete Johnson. Welcome back to How About That Cigar Live.
What's up, guys? Hey, Matt, I have some criticism.
Please, bring it.
Your commercial about Corona Cigar needs to be updated because that Davidoff Tampa Lounge is no longer.
Yes, and I actually heard that a couple weeks ago from Kevin at Cigar Prop, and I haven't taken the time yet to update that voiceover. So I have to get on that.
And when you said adorable about Garrett's shirt, it reminded me of Ducky Dale from was it Pretty in Pink, right? No, was it Pretty in Pink?
Yeah,
Adorable. Adorable.
Deep track. I love it.
that is fantastic.
So thanks for having me.
Yeah, always love having you on the show. And we, before we jump into, questions and all that stuff, just let everybody know what you decided to light up tonight. There it is.
Barracuda Blue. Barracuda Blue, the number one, actually. Man, I'll tell you, I love this cigar, but I better, because otherwise I wouldn't be selling it.
And I've got Garrett's show sample here. So
that's just mean.
So
smoke it. He doesn't need it.
Yeah. Well, so the good news is, two good news. One is I have Garrett's show sample, and he doesn't have it. No, I'm joking. But the other good news is that these have already started hitting store shelves here in the Twin Cities area. So if you're in Minneapolis, St. Paul, I know of at least one shop that's already got them on the shelf, and most likely the other ones who place their orders have them as well.
Nice.
So Ramsey Smoke Shop, Omar, I know you guys have them on the shelf.
Well,
Garrett,
I'll be honest. Sorry, my bad. I jumped ahead of you guys.
Oh, no worries.
I wanted to say something about Barracuda Blue.
Yeah.
I made a huge mistake. When I put the order in with the factory, I try to spread it out. So we're not, because you go into a show 2022, we were not sure, because it's our second year back after the pandemic. How good is the show going to be? And we said, okay, ship this many out of the production. And then once that's done, a month later, ship the rest. So now we have to wait for the rest, but we actually sold over the whole.
Oh.
Yeah. So I digress. Garrett, what are you smoking?
So I'm going with a classic.
Hey, look at that. Very nice.
Havana Noble's 6 in Robusto.
Perfect.
Very nice.
It's the baby of this.
It is.
So
not a lot of people know that the original Havana 6 actually had Corojo.
Oh yeah.
The wrapper was Corojo 99.
Okay.
For the first year, and then we had to change because we stopped getting a quality product from the supplier, and we switched to Habano Ecuador with Oliva tobacco, obviously, and that's been Habano Ecuador for the last 16 years, I guess. So
yeah,
or 15 years. So it's good that we came out with the Corojo that the Garcias grow.
Yeah, absolutely. So I feel bad because I'm going to mention another thing that Garrett's missing out on, but it is what it is. So I reached into my vault and I had two left of the fake meat.
Oh, mother.
Can you see those sparkles?
Yeah, and I have to say, so the cellophane is nice and dark on these guys, yeah. And the just beautiful sparkles coming from the wrapper leaf are pretty sweet. So I'm very sorry, Garrett, that you're missing out on this, but
he's out. He's coming for me.
And I
like your attitude, Garrett. I'd be pissed too.
And I'm going to fire up this cigar right now on the Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust Toast Cam.
Wait, we got Steve Saka coming in?
Yep.
When lighting your cigar, it's important to be patient. Pay close attention to detail and focus on the tobacco. In the same way, Steve Saka brings those same qualities to the ultra premium cigars with Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust. Patience, close attention, and focus on the tobacco are the qualities that Saka and Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust have become known for. From Sober Mesa to Umbagog, Dunbarton has a blend that will fit your palate, your mood, and any occasion. Visit DunbartonCigars.com to learn more.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
Okay, that was awesome. By the way, nice job on making the flame jump.
Thank you.
That might be the coolest commercial I've seen yet.
It's hit or miss.
That's the first interactive commercial I've ever seen in the cigar industry.
There you go.
It's so funny because when a few weeks ago we had this show we call the Industry Hive Mind with Charlie and Skip and Abe, and after we did that commercial during that show, Abe was like, "That is the worst fucking commercial I've ever seen." So it's you never know who's gonna like it, who's not.
Okay, can we talk about?
It depends on how well you lit your last cigar on that commercial. You lit this one pretty good. I love it.
I want to
Abe and I
address.
talk a lot, so it's pretty funny.
I want to address
our balls too.
I want to address a viewer comment.
Yeah.
Which one? This one?
Yes, it's exactly right.
Oh,
okay, so let me kind of preface
Please
this whole
take it.
thing. Slicer, he's a good friend. He likes to be like, we don't really know each other face to face as much as we do online, but I consider him a friend enough to where he has my cell phone number and he texts me all the time. But he loves to be a troll. But that comment, there's some validity to it because he's actually done a lot of testing on cigars with cellophane, where he did different heat temperatures, different humidity levels, and it shows that the cellophane will change at different rates depending on how you store it. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well done, Slicer. His name's Jason Fitzgerald, resident troll.
Well, and I will say this. I agree. These cigars, I only had, when I bought them in 2018, I think I bought 7 of them, and they've been in the same humidor all my other cigars have been in, just in a sort of the lower section is for quote unquote aging, which, call that what you will. But yeah, there's it's frequent that if you see it, so there's one humidor in Wisconsin that is known for their mold problems. I'm not going to name it up, but they're known for their mold problems. And we've talked about them on the show before. And they also have an extensive collection of cigars with extremely dark cellophane. But they also have a humidifier that turns that place into the Rainforest Cafe on an hourly basis. So
is that place still around?
It's still around, sadly. Yes. And the cellophane on those cigars went brown because they get deeply over humidified. And typically you walk in there and it's not just from the amount of humidity in the air, it's also because it's about 80 degrees every time you walk inside that humidor. So it's way too hot and it's way too moist in there.
Yeah, anytime you get that humidity level up, it's gonna spit off color. No matter what the color is, you could be working with a shade grown, Claro wrapper. If you're working with it wet, if you're working with it wet on, like, say the rollers, if they're working with it wet, their fingers are gonna get color on it, no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slicer, you
ever chew tobacco? That's kind of what it is.
So I don't know if I've met you yet, Slicer. And if I haven't, I'm sorry. You got to hit me up. Email me, matt@howaboutthatcigar.com. We got to hook up and have a cigar one of these days.
Well, Jason's actually in the Navy and he lives local.
Yes. Yeah. So,
I think
and we may have met already.
Right near you guys.
So yeah.
Awesome.
He just moved there. So
I was gonna say, yellow cell or not, this thing is delicious.
Yeah.
Right. That's all I gotta say.
Well, and this kind of sorry, Garrett, go ahead.
No, well, I was gonna start talking about tattoos if I can. If you have something else that segues better, let me know.
It's a cigar show. It's not a tattoo show, but no, I will. No, you go ahead.
Well, let's go to your resident tattoo artist, Pete Johnson. Wasn't I a tattoo artist at one time?
Oh, there you go.
That's one of the best rumors in the industry, by the way.
That you were a tattoo artist?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if we can. Are you able to show your Opus tattoo? Can we get that on camera?
Okay. Hold on. You see it right there?
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
There it is. All right,
Carlito has asked me whether or not I've covered it up.
And there's
hey, there you go. Look at that.
So
just remember, I had it first.
You did. Absolutely. And you were an inspiration to that. And we talked a little bit about this on the show. And I am sleeving up with cigar stuff. I did the Opus one first because Fuente was my first love. It was my first cigar. Adventure.
No, it's not Opus 1. It's Opus 10. No, I'm sorry.
Don't say that. Don't break out another lawsuit. No more lawsuits.
Sorry, it's Opus X.
Yeah. And now Pete actually just sent me the artwork. And next week, I'm getting Fausto here.
nice.
Interesting.
Right next to the
story.
Opus one?
So it's going to be forearm right here.
Oh, my God, dude. That's fucking cool as shit. I'm in great company, so thank you.
That
You're
was
in- yeah,
so
good real
Fausto,
estate.
that was my pregame cigar. Justin gave me one of his Faustos. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I was in New York, I got to meet and have a cigar and chat with Mo for a while. And I found out
Mo knows.
Mo is also getting a Fausto tattoo. And
Really?
mhm. And so we're going to
He
be.
hasn't told me that.
Maybe I wasn't
Not that I
supposed to spill the
care.
beans.
Not that
But,
I care.
We're both getting the bat, basically the Fausto.
Well, here's the cool part about it. If you take the one that I did, which is the Fausto with the Esteli, Tabacos Esteli, whatever, that's just the same version of the Cuban one. It just said Habana on it before. So it's actually no matter what you do, it's an homage to history of tobacco, and that was a really cool logo in Cuba. So why am I going to change it? Of course not.
Well, and the reason why I went with Fausto as opposed to, the cool calligraphy or the, Tatuaje logo is Fausto was the first tat that I had that absolutely blew me away. And that's what started me on my tat journey. So
I'm loving the comments, man.
they're
Sorry.
great.
These comments are gold. These comments are gold.
How much does a tramp stamp cost? I want space for the tramp stamp.
Well, a tramp stamp from Surrogates is only, I think, $8.50 if I recall.
We'll start a GoFundMe.
Yeah, you're only paying.
It might be up to $9 by now, but it's still. I think it's $8.50 if I remember correctly.
So what
Anyway.
was your last tattoo?
Mine.
Yeah.
Oh shit, dude. It was actually I haven't had a tattoo in a long time, but I got all of these. Like this right here is it's the stamp of the Girard in San Emilion, which is like the secret society that grows the wine growers in San Emilion. They actually, it's a funny story about that tattoo. One of the guys I'm friends with this chateau, he's part of the organization. Every once in a while they vote in non-participating members. Like if you're not a wine grower in Bordeaux, you can't get in, but they do vote in like people that promote the culture and the wine community of San Emilion. And he saw my tattoo. He goes, I want to get you in as one of those honorary members. I was like, okay, just tell me when to show up. I never got in because I never went back. But he actually started smoking cigars. He hit me up just recently. He's a family-owned wine chateau in San Emilion. His family's been growing grapes for 4 generations. They're Italian. They moved to Bordeaux, and they make some really good, very cost-efficient wine. He said, economical, great wine. I think their most expensive bottle might be $50, which is easily better than most $100 bottles. But that was probably one of my last ones. And then, of course, Buvez du Vent, Vivez Joyeux, which is drink life, drink wine and live life joyously. And then this is the symbol of Pomerol, which is right next to Saint Emilion, and it's connected to wine grapes and everything. So that was kind of like my last venture in tattoos. I haven't really had the want to get another tattoo, only because I'm sure what I would get next. So I wait.
So you're not thinking about like going full like Post Malone face tattoos.
Actually, it's funny. Recently, I thought about getting like a neck tattoo right here.
Oh yeah.
I swear to God, I don't know. I think I woke up and go, oh, that might be kind of cool. And then I realized, nah, maybe not.
How about that cigar?
Oh, yeah. Burn cigars, not bridges.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
We'll pay for that. Drink.
I love that line, by the way. Who came up with that?
That was Matt.
I did.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, just I don't know. I honestly don't even remember when it was. It was sometime before How About That Cigar started. It was just I don't know. I saw there was something going on where a bunch of people were bickering back and forth on social media about cigars.
Never.
And
in our industry, never.
God, who does that?
That never happens. Yeah, like we were talking about off the air before we went live.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, speaking of cigars, just looking back a little bit, we saw you at the at Glamour Shots. Oh,
that must have been where it is.
God. Oh. All right, I'll bring up that story later for those of you who haven't heard that story. So going back, we got to see you again at PCA. Always fantastic running into you, but crazy busy at PCA. I mean, it was really a whirlwind this year, and it was cool going into PCA because there was good news, on the legislative front and all that stuff before this trade show even happened. So I think everybody just had a really, positive vibe going into everything. And so just give us a quick rundown how everything went for you guys. It seemed to just be a fantastic show.
Yeah, it was amazing. We had this kind of like this special deal thing, not deal, but a couple special projects that you need to get in on Saturday to get. Of course, we completely oversold, so I have to go back and rework all the numbers of who's getting what. But all in all, it was great until the day I saw you, I think, which was Monday, right?
Yeah.
Monday, I got a bug like you wouldn't believe, and walked out of the convention hall somewhere around, I don't know, right after we had our interview.
Oh, wow.
And went up to the room, took like 4 Advil, took a 20-minute power nap, and came back down, and then realized I needed to go back to the room and do the same thing again. But I tested for COVID. Like, I did 5 rapid tests and 1 PCR, and all of them came back negative. So I got something else.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say it might have been food poisoning. I don't know.
Yeah, that's.
But it was a weird day for me. Like, I all of a sudden had like the chills. Like I couldn't even be in the convention hall. I was like, oh, it's Monday. Half the people are gone already. It's just they're pumping in too much air conditioning. I'm just cold because of that. Yeah. And then I started shivering. I was like, okay, I got to get the fuck out of here. I walked by someone who was going to come by and interview me, and I go, no, don't come near me. But yeah, I went immediately to Walgreens, got a bunch of tests, and before I left Vegas, I actually took 4 tests.
Yeah,
all negative. And I was like, okay, these things don't fucking work.
I'm glad it was all negative because a lot of people ended up. I know everybody's heard the stories. A lot of people ended up coming home with positive COVID tests from PCA. Maybe not a lot, but a fair number of people
Yeah, it was unfortunate, but I mean, we can't blame our small industry for any of that, especially because there was, I don't know, a couple other million people in Vegas that weekend.
Yeah. I mean, it's Vegas and it's, 100 and I don't know how well COVID thrives in 120-degree temperatures, but probably pretty damn well.
I don't know. Maybe it could have been the time that I was playing slot machines and I took my cigar and put my hand next to my mouth after I hit the button of the slot machine. That could have happened, right? I don't know. It wasn't the kiss that I got from Matt Booth for sure.
It was.
Must have been those bad hot dogs at the food court.
Yeah. Well, and I got a kiss from Jeremiah Mirafel.
Adam, I'm curious how Adam did because he just commented. I'm curious if he went back with COVID or if he held out pretty good. Because I hung out with him too.
I know. At one point,
maybe I was the super spreader.
Yeah, there you go. At one, I think it was the last day, Garrett.
I don't have it. You guys all got it from me.
Was it the last day that we were talking to those guys and we were all kind of leave? We were all getting ready to leave, and Adam just was like not feeling well at all.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, shit. Oh, that sucks.
It's. I've come home from Vegas before with a cold or something like that. It happens. It's like you said. There's a million people there, and a million different ways.
Vegas. Like we burn ourselves out. Like it's like literally like we go to bed at 2 a.m. and wake up at 8 to go to the show floor and smoke all day and then drink by happy hour and we rinse and repeat. We burn ourselves out.
Yeah.
And that's for everybody. Even you guys are up way earlier trying to get content ready for whatever you're doing. So
yeah,
it's just, dude, it happens. We're lucky that no one came out of it really bad.
Exactly.
I've heard a couple stories from friends that they're like, "Oh man, I was down for a week," and I was like, "Dude, really?"
Yeah.
Like maybe I knew someone who never got it before, got it, and he was hit pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay.
And Nicole from Smoking Tobacco, she got it pretty hard too. I think it's her first time.
She did.
Yeah, she did.
There you go.
Yeah, she got hit hard.
Yeah.
I got it for Christmas, so it was like this second wave was easy peasy. I went to dinner that night. Like I was feeling fine by dinner.
Yeah, it's Vegas. It's a week filled with bad decisions, and sometimes things are going to happen. So, I want to talk about the cigar that Justin and I are smoking right now. It has this San Andreas wrapper on it, and you guys have really been, you've really been busy with this particular type of wrapper leaf, lately. And one of the things that was announced at the trade show was this new Loma de Cerdo.
Lomo de Cerdo.
Yeah.
Lomo de Cerdo.
So that
pork tenderloin.
Basically like the pork tenderloin with so is it a reimagined blend or is it the tenderloin blend with the San Andreas wrapper?
No, it's the tenderloin blend with San Andreas. Obviously, tobacco changes. You're talking about the original tenderloin. Was made multiple years ago. The Garcias actually by that time were using pretty much all their farms to grow their filler. But back during the original pork tenderloin, we obviously used a wrapper from a different farm in Connecticut because now we have a new grower. So obviously that's Connecticut broadleaf version, but we might have used one of the binders might have come from a different farm from someone else, which probably would have come from Oliva Tobacco. So it's as close as possible. I mean, this is when I put together that blend, it's always very select farms and that's it. And, definitely the San Andreas kind of throws it for a twist.
Yeah. Well, and this, this cigar, this fake meat cigar, it was super limited run in 2018. I think from what I read, 3,000 cigars were made, or maybe it was 3,000 bundles. But it was super limited. And this cigar has rested really well. It's only 4 years old, but it has rested really well. And it really has that great kind of earthy, sweet characteristic that I love getting from San Andreas. Talk to us a little bit about there's also and I always butcher the pronunciation, but
Tuxla.
Tuxla.
You got it right.
Yeah.
Tuxla.
And so that's some of those, Tatuaje cigars that people have grown to love over the years, kind of reimagined with that wrapper leaf.
And those are the identical blend inside.
Okay.
Just with that, it's really about showing expressions of wrapper and how much a wrapper can really change the flavor profile in your palate. And it's more about the teaching experience for the consumer and for even us. I mean, we love going into the factory and say, hey, let's take that blend and put this wrapper on it. Let's see how it is. And it's nice to be able to taste those different things and see why a cigar can change so much from a wrapper. So that's why we do it. And moving forward, obviously, anything that comes with the San Andreas that we're doing for a limited product will have that Tuxla label on it.
Okay. One of the other things that got announced at the trade show is the new Britannicus Extra for the Cabaguan, and that's Garrett mentioned his first Tatuaje. I think he said was the Fausto, and for my first Tatuaje that I bought and smoked was the Cabaguan. And it's still in my regular rotation. I love that cigar. So talk to us. And it's not just the Cabaguan that you announced some of that Britannicus. But talk to us about that particular size and the name, because it's got some significance to it across some of the different lines.
Well, the Britannica Extra size is a Cuban Vitola, 5 3/8 by 48 Perfecto, not really tapered too much. It's actually a mold that I wanted to use for a long time, and back in 2012, we were in Dortmund, Germany, at our trade show there, and I told Jaime that I wanted to use that particular size, and he actually went to the mold maker that was making the molds, who was actually making them for Cuba also, to get a couple sets of those molds. Unfortunately, over the years of using them for the regular, Bellonc size, because that's when we used them for the first time, the molds have started to deteriorate. So we literally have like one set of molds, but we also only have one pair of rollers rolling that cigar. So luckily, we don't do a huge production of any Britannica Extra sizes. So you have the Surrogates, which was a small production, 500 boxes of 10,000 cigars. And then the Atelier ERB, or the Racine, which was also a Britannica mold. And then the Cabaguan. We still make the Belloncs. We potentially might be making the Bellonc Reservas for next year again. And then, obviously there are some other things that I want to play with moving forward. But it's a size I love because it's a cool shape. It's something about it I've always loved, and I've always loved it in the Cuban Vitolas that I've smoked. So, that was the reason why I started that whole concept with using the Britannica size, or Britannica Extra size, because of my love for the few Cubans that I smoked in that same size.
Yeah, that was it's a size that you described it as, it's sort of a perfecto, but it's not, it doesn't have that rigid, it doesn't, that torpedo end on the perfecto doesn't come to a point. It's more softly rounded, almost like a Marblehead or I can't remember the other term right now.
Well, it's funny because as much as I love like Salomones and Diademas, the one thing I hate about them is the bubble at the end.
Yes.
I usually chop them. I'll be honest. Every time I go into smoking one of those cigars, I cut the foot off also, because I'm kind of impatient and I want to get past that, for lack of better terms, I want to get past that little nipple and get straight to the belly of it. Right.
Yeah.
Because you have to work through that small point to get to the belly, and it's kind of a struggle for me. So I just choose to chop it off. It's not probably the best etiquette, but then again, I used to chop Opus XAs in half. So
yeah, and honestly, I do that not every time I smoke one, but it's pretty common still that if I'm smoking like a Hemingway signature, I'll chop off that nipple end because
yeah,
it's
the
easier to
Hemingways
smoke.
are not so bad, but they do have that little point there
Yeah.
that you want to kind of burn through. It's funny because I always find that no matter what cigar it is, no matter what brand, if I leave that point on, I constantly have to touch it up before the belly hits.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't always want to burn perfect. The way that rollers actually put those together, they're using literally like, their Chevetta or a razor blade to cut that wrapper in a certain way so it closes on top, but it's a lot of overlapping.
Yeah.
So it ends up being kind of tough to burn through on, when you think of a traditional wrapper, it's all the way around, but when it comes to the little point, it's actually folded over a little bit, so you end up getting like double wrapper on some point of it. So
Yeah.
it's always tough to burn through.
And it's rare, and regardless of manufacturer, factory, country of origin, whatever, the cigar with that type of an end on it, it's like you said, it's so intricate and getting everything layered just right. It's really rare that you get one where the combustion is just right all the way around without having to, touch it up or anything like that, because it's very difficult to put that tobacco in there layered just perfectly.
Yeah, it's definitely not an easy cigar to roll.
Yeah.
I mean, when we first started making Salamones and Diademas in Miami back in 2004, Pepin was the only one that rolled them.
Yeah.
Like, he was the guy that was rolling them. Obviously, times have changed, but the lady who still makes them was the girl that took over for Pepin when he stopped rolling.
Wow.
So she's still with the family, still in Miami. We have a great crew of rollers in Miami, and she's she's our longest standing. She was there since day one.
Man.
So she's been with us since 2003.
Well, that actually is a very
Great
perfect
segue.
perfect segue. So we know that, looking back at having this brand for nearly 20 years, it's coming up on 20 years. What are some of the things you would go back and tell your younger self when you were first starting out Tatuaje, that you would tell your younger self when you were first launching the brand, if you could?
Well, I mean, obviously, everybody knows this story. I mean, I would tell myself never to paint the inside of a box. That's
yeah.
I think I've said that multiple times. So
Yeah.
that's a no-brainer. I don't know. I think a lot of it. I mean, listen, early on, people kind of got me into doing like stupid shit, not cigar wise, but promotion wise. And there was a guy that, like, he was working for, I won't say the company, but he was working for a big company. And he thought it would be funny to challenge me to like an MMA style fight.
What?
And I said, sure. But he was a hockey player. And I'm like, dude, if you're going to come in and start throwing punches like a hockey player, I'm out. Like, but if you want to do a real fight, I'll do it. But this is going to be the stupidest thing I've ever done. And we got to the event, and luckily, they were doing other fighting with other like professional people, obviously, and it rained, so we canceled it, which was very welcoming for me because, listen, I didn't prepare. I was just going to make a fool of myself. So I'm happy that never happened. But I should have never said yes in the first place. Yeah, dumb shit like that. other than that, man, I've always kind of stuck with, like the best thing I ever did was, everybody was like, okay, don't put all your eggs in one basket. You got everything you do is with the Garcia family. Eventually you might want to branch out, and guess what? 20 years later, pretty happy.
Right. Exactly.
So, so I believe in being honest with people and having integrity in what you do. And when it comes to having that relationship, your word goes a long way. And even to this day, I mean, we don't have contracts. It's a handshake and a love for the fact that we support each other.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's much different now. I guess that technically I have a contract.
That's a contract. That's a
But
contract.
that's a little different.
Yeah.
But,
Right. Exactly.
I mean, it's family. I mean, there was never anything about, and the best thing I did was that, I made sure I paid my bills, and I made sure that that the retailers that carried the product cared about it as much as I did, and I never tried to grow too quick. And even to this day, we've been pretty, steady and slow, and not trying to be this monster. So 20 years later, I guess I could have just blown up completely. I will tell you that I'm happy I never sold the company,
Yeah.
because I truly believe that I have something special and that I want to stick with it. So
Do you
that's
still
going to
get
be part
offers?
of my life.
Yeah. And I would imagine, like Garrett said, I would imagine over the years you've gotten offers multiple times.
I've had a couple, and I always like to throw out some ridiculously absurd number because it's really a family thing. And there's always been stipulations when I've had conversations with people, and I won't mention who they are. It's always been, if I want to make sure the production stays with the family, because they're making me what I think is great product, and I want to stay in that realm. Plus, I want to make sure that they're supported also. So the numbers always that I throw out they're like shocking, like what? Like, and I'm like, well, it's a family business. So if you want to buy a family business, you're going to pay a lot.
Yeah. I want to say, you see you throw up the pinky like Dr. Evil and say $1 billion.
Well, yeah, I don't think, is there anybody in the cigar industry that could ever get to $1 billion? I don't think so.
Not a small company. No, not a family company.
Yeah, but I don't even think how much did Habanos sell for?
Even the big conglomerates.
1.2?
It was 1.2 million.
Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah.
That's the only. So it's not happening.
Yeah.
It's just not happening. But again, I love what I do. And I love the family I work with. And
Right.
I think if I ever had anybody buy Tatuaje, it would be the family. I will tell you that one day they asked me how much the company was worth, and this is a long time ago. And I said, I don't know. I've joked about it with people. And Jaime and Pepin actually reached out their hands like, let's go. And I was like, no. I actually pulled my hand back. I said, no. No, they're family. And and that's the one. If I had my perfect scenario, we would just roll everything up together. Obviously, they're a much bigger company than Tatuaje. We would just roll everything up together and just expand to where we're just a bigger cohesive unit.
Yeah.
And just get a little bit more market penetration. I think for both companies, it would be helpful. So,
well, and over the years, you've done a handful of special projects with some retailers and things like that. When somebody approaches, because I'm sure you get approached all the time about doing, hey, will you do a special project with us, that kind of thing. What are you looking for when somebody comes to you with an idea for a special project that makes you want to put skin in the game and actually participate?
Well, it's not really that. It's retailers that have been with us for a long time.
Okay.
Obviously, that's a big priority for us. I stopped doing a lot of single retailer things. I've branched out where I do kind of like a hybrid of it, where I give them like the brunt of the shipment or a version of the product, and then I go on and do another version for everybody else, or I give everybody else a piece of what they had also, but at a later time. But in the early days when I was doing a lot of store collaborations, it was really about relationships. It was really about making sure that the people that were supporting me, I was supporting them back. And it was always the question of like, I'm going to come up with a good cigar for you. I promise you that. The key is I need to know what you want, because you know your customer base better than I do. So they would always feed me the size, and I would always kind of go, are you sure? Like if it was an odd request, I'm like, I don't know if that's the best choice. How about we do something like this instead? But then there's some circumstances where they've actually said, hey, let's do something. I whip something together knowing that I absolutely love it. And they go, you're going to send me samples? I said, no. No, I'm happy with it. It's good. Because I don't want them, it's kind of backwards, but I want them to believe in what I do.
Yeah.
And I'll make sure that I put my best foot forward. So it's a lot of work to do those small projects though, because it does throw a wrench into the machine.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good question from Chad. Do you remember what the most limited production store release was? Like, was there something, say, less than 1,000 cigars?
Yeah, let me see if I can remember. Well, shit, like, well, there was always been some oddballs out there. And sometimes it might be something we do for Phil from Up Down for Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But usually even with Phil, it's a few thousand sticks here and there. I'm trying to remember this. Oh yeah. Okay. Let me do the math real quick. No, those were always over. Those were actually that was over 1,000 also.
Well, I have one actually from Phil at Up Down. There's a bundle in my humidor that's still unopened, and Garrett's nodding his head. He knows that I have a bundle of these, of what was called the King Beefcake.
Yeah,
and I have a bundle of those in my humidor.
Yeah, that was a few thousand sticks. Over the years, it got harder and harder. But in the early days, we did 3 limited edition store releases back in 2006. One for Dion Giolito, which was called the Bombazo.
Yeah.
One for Kevin Phillips and the guys from they had a store called what was the name of that store? Leaf and Ale back in the day.
Oh yeah.
They were kind of way before their time. It was a beer store with cigars, like way before their time. And then the next one was Tower with the Cojete. So those I think we made like 70, 75 boxes of each of those. So that's over 1,000 sticks right there. Because there were boxes of 25, and they were made in Miami, small batch. And then eventually, when we started doing in Nicaragua, it was hard to do less than 3,000. Then it was hard to do less than 4,000. Then it was hard to do less than 5,000. So now it's it's hard to do less than 6,000 cigars before the factory looks at me with evil eyes and says no.
Yeah. Well, because it's people.
Again, it's not my factory. It's not my factory. They let me play in their facility. I call it a playground. Jaime Garcia will not call it a playground. He goes there to work. I'm just blessed that he lets me play.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to go, hey, I need 1,000 sticks. They're like, come on, Pete, you know, like seriously, do we have to stop the rollers from rolling this cigar and make
Right.
1,000 cigars? It's not easy.
Yeah.
Miami, it's a lot easier because I can go into Miami and say, hey, make me 500 sticks.
Yeah.
The problem with that is that they're a lot more expensive. A lot more expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think sometimes people they maybe don't realize the ramifications of going to, you know, the My Father Cigar Factory and saying, hey, I want you to take these X number of Boncheros and Roleros and put them on a project to make 1,000 cigars. They're like, no, that it really does mess up, because they've got regular production numbers that they have to meet for the brands that their retailers have come to expect.
I have to jump in. So Shades Slicer said that Tower was under 1,000. It was not. It was like 1,750. It was above 1,000 for sure.
What about
but
the?
I did send him. Let's just say I sent him some cigars for his wedding.
Nice.
So I don't know why he's such a troll. I'm such a.
What about the Soto?
Oh yeah, dude! I love that cigar. By the way, the Soto was a fairly big production. That was like 100 boxes of 25. So you got 2,500 cigars. That was, I think it might have been more than that though for some reason. But the WCD 120s were actually more than that originally too. I think that was at least 1,200 cigars on the WCD 120. Because I think that might have been like 2,400 because I made like 200 boxes of 12. So quick math by Pete Johnson. Barkley Rex was KC, my brother, of course. Thanks a lot, dickhead. My brother. That was 100 boxes of 25, Casey, because it was their 100th anniversary. So, gotcha.
Suck it.
So,
suck it.
Garrett, before we went live, actually, before Pete even jumped into the green room, you had something. So I wanted you to jump into that now.
All right. So, Pete, as we're heading into the fall season, white girls all over the country are getting their pumpkin spice lattes palette ready. It's a great time for them. Wanted to talk about monsters. Okay. And I know we've discussed monsters in the past, but talking with some birdies, there's a cool story about how the monster series was envisioned and drawn up. Can you just bring us through that?
A lot of people know the story already, but my friend Jose Augusto from Gloucester Street Cigars, back in Boston, right off of Newberry Street, there was a small store called Gloucester Street, which actually there's a great history to Gloucester Street because that store had been open for a long time, and a lot of people ran through that store, including Raquel Casada worked there while she was going to school. So like there's a lot of people that filtered through that store. But Jose was an employee at one time, and eventually he owned the store with a good friend, Jack Dickermungi. And he actually brought it up to me. He's like, you should do a theme cigar. And I had done a couple store things, and then he's like, nah, he's like, you got to do a theme thing, like something that, you know, like a holiday or something that or surrounded by sports or whatever. And it was just during the time that Johnny Cupcakes t-shirts were like the hottest thing since sliced bread.
Wow.
And I don't know if you remember Johnny Cupcakes, but it looked like a cupcake store, but you would walk in going to get a cupcake and you realize there's no cupcakes, it's just t-shirts. Brilliant. People were crazy that would like sleep on a sidewalk in Boston, Massachusetts for a week to get a limited edition t-shirt. And Jose actually was a big sneakerhead, like way before sneakerheads, right? And he pulled out a sneaker that was a Frankenstein Nike. And I was like, oh, monsters. That's awesome. Like, yeah, absolutely. And before I even left that shop that day, I had like ideas for at least 7 or 8 monsters in my head. And I said, it was like, oh my God, I'm going to put them in a coffin shaped box, and they're going to be quantities of 13 per box. And then it just evolved. I left the store that day with the idea in my head. I was like, okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to kind of make it like almost Johnny Cupcakes-ish, where you couldn't, you kind of had to be on the button to get it. And it ended up being, it became a nightmare, and it became a monster of its own. And then it had to expand because the demand just instantly went through the roof. And that's when I started doing, okay, I want to keep the coffins kind of special. Let's do these undressed boxes. It's the same cigar. It's just in a plain box.
Yeah.
But then it became like, oh, no, I have to find the dress box. So since we got to do the reset, we ended the first wave, the 13 monsters, and we're back to beginning again. We did Frank last year and Drac. There's always going to be, all of them are going to be coffins now. The box factory in Nicaragua, which the Garcias own also, has the capacity to make me more of the dress boxes. But now we're doing 2 different dress boxes every year. So one is still the limited number ones, and then the other is the dress box that everybody wanted for the secondary box instead of buying the cedar ply box. So
Yeah.
it became a problem. I mean, it's definitely a monster of its own, and I just kind of have to keep on making sure that people are happy with it. The first key out of all of it, of course, is the cigar. And I'm happy to say that this is the redux of the Drac this year, so there will be no painted inside box. Not doing that again. So yeah, it's really about making people happy with it, and it's also trying to make sure that the retailers are happy with it too, because it's hard to distribute 666 boxes. Actually, not even that. It was like 647 total, because we would always keep, actually 46, because we'd always keep 14 plus. We also had, I make 700 total, but I have double X boxes where on the back, instead of a number, it just says double X. So I know it was one of my private stash. And those usually end up at events or at charity auctions. Like recently, I sent some boxes to. I sent a box and a lighter cutter set to an auction where all the money went to the CRA, which I was more than happy to do that. So, yeah, I mean, it's a project, and it was a lot of fun in the early days working. When Jose put that in my head with that, showing me that sneaker, I was like, oh shit, I'm going to go down a fucking rabbit hole here.
So when
I did.
When you're looking at a Redux project, what does that all entail for you?
It's really trying to make sure I stay true to the original blend, and then trying to come up with something creative for the packaging. Obviously, the coffin shape of the box is very integral to the project. And that's eventually evolved. I mean, listen, I have a trademark on that shape of the box. So that's how important that box is to Tatuaje. We actually own a trademark for a coffin, like a, old crypt style box. So that's just a warning to anybody who decides they want to use it. I hate to be the bad guy, but I will send you a nice little letter or a text message saying, please stop.
Well, our friend Matt Vegdahl here in Twin Cities area says, please release the creature. That blend was amazing. And I concur.
Yeah, I'm going to do the creature as an NFT. No.
Okay. You brought it up.
Yep.
So we had a
No. I don't even want to get into the conversation. It's I'm gonna kind of sit on the sidelines for a long time on that one, because I get it and I don't get it. So I just really kind of want to, see what's happening with it. But I know that people are paying outrageous amounts of money for these things, which is amazing that LaFleur can put this together. And, thumbs up to those guys for coming up with something really cool for the industry. I just hope that it works out in their favor.
Yeah. Yeah. And I honestly am coming from the same kind of boat where I really don't understand I'm I'm an old set in my ways guy, and I own all of $10 in cryptocurrency. That's how far into the game I've gone.
I own zero in crypto.
So that I just don't really, NFTs and crypto and all that. I don't pretend to understand it, but I applaud them for being like the Monster series, way outside of the box, new level thinking, an NFT cigar way outside of the box, new level thinking. I applaud them. I still don't understand it, but I applaud them, and I wish them all the success in the world.
I think they'll do great with it. And honestly, I love the concept of it, because I love the fact that they're, that 7 people are getting like this really special thing. I think that eventually probably they'll be on the shelves for people to buy, not from them, but from the people that bought the NFTs.
Yeah.
So everybody will be able to, at least try it. They might be expensive, but it's kind of cool. You know me, I love making small batch shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I make stuff in Miami where I literally make 50 cigars, and I probably usually end up handing them out and telling people, hey, do me a favor, you have to smoke this right here and now, because I only made 50 of them and I don't want you trying to sell this.
Yeah. So. When you've been playing around in the factory, either with the rollers in Miami or down in Nicaragua, have you seen, maybe you start playing around with this, you find this leaf that is, you just fall in love with this leaf, and then you realize, oh shit, there's hardly any of it to go around, that you've fallen in love with and been like, oh damn, I really want to turn this into something, but there's not enough of it to go around.
Yeah, early on in the days of Pelo de Oro, when Pepin and Jaime started growing Pelo de Oro, there was a very limited amount of it. And there was the occasional time where Pepin would come to me and say, hey, I have enough to make 10,000 leaves or 10,000 cigars with this particular wrapper. Sometimes I utilize it. Sometimes I just stay away from it because it's too much of a headache. La Verite is a good example. It's a project, and it's really about taking time to search for the right tobaccos to put into the cigar. And that's probably why I've only done 3 of them.
Yeah.
Could I have made more La Verites in those years? Yes, but I don't think the cigar market really was ready for that concept, because that was kind of like in a weird way an NFT in a sense, but it was based off of futures for the wine industry. So that's the occasion. Like right now, we have some wrapper in Miami that came from ASP. ASP, the Perez family, great growers of Connecticut, Ecuador, and we have literally a box of it sitting in Miami. Pepin wants me to use it, but first of all, I have to use it in Miami, and traditionally we don't use Connecticut wrapper in Miami. We have to make sure we pick the right roller to roll the cigars, because it's a very delicate wrapper. And I need to make sure I have the right blend to put it on and the right size to put it on for me. So we haven't touched it. It's just sitting. Hopefully it will stay good for a while. But, there's kind of a shelf life for wrapper when it's in a box,
Yeah. So Arnold's got a good question that kind of ties into, as far as La Verite, have you have you looked through, particular crops from different years and said, okay, this one, it's just because like you said, you've only done it those 3 times. And has it just been that you've looked through crops from certain years and been like, it's just not good enough to put it all into one blend?
It's not really that it's not good enough, because I think the tobacco is great. It's really about coming up with the blend that I like. So
Okay.
in 2010, so I did 08 and 09 back to back. 08 and 09 were completely different animals, because what was growing on that farm in 08 was much different than what was growing on the farm in 09. 2010 came, and I put samples together, smoked a bunch of them, gave them to 3 other people. My brother, actually 4 other people. My brother, Casper, who you know, Sean Johnson, no relation, Dan Welsh, and also Dan Reeve. If you know Dan Reeve,
yeah.
he
Yes.
writes with Thor from Cigar Press. Dan's a very good friend. And all of them were like, dude, this is great. People are going to like this, especially when it, all the rough edges come out of it. And there was something about it that bugged me. And I never put it into production, but I still have a lot of bands, about 50,000 bands that say 2010 on them.
Oh man.
So there's just something, sometimes it's really about the amount of time that I can take to put it together. It's not, 2013 was easy for me because I knew there was a lot of tobaccos grown on that farm that year, and I knew I could play a lot with coming up with something cool.
Yeah.
I tried to put something together with 2018 crop, and off of Estrella it didn't work, so I decided to move to a different farm. And I decided to pick Las Marias, which is the farm in Namahi, which the family owns, obviously. It's named after the matriarch of the family. And I think I created probably the mildest cigar ever. It was wild. It was like, okay, this is kind of interesting. And then I let it sit for a while, and I smoked it. And the last one I ever smoked, I was like, holy shit, like this is good, but there's not a lot of strength here. Like it was super flavorful, but like no strength whatsoever. So I kind of let that slide. And there were other years where Jaime asked me, hey, are you going to use this? Because he would save me tobacco for certain years. And I'm like, no, just put it in the mix.
Yeah.
Like put it in production with everything else that you're using, because which is obviously I didn't want to hold. It's their tobacco. It's not mine.
Right.
I didn't want to hold tobacco that they spent a lot of money to grow and and ferment and process. Again, they let me play. Thank God. Yeah. But I'm a very picky person when it comes to final product. And if something's not working, I just kind of. I'll give you a great example. It wasn't a La Verite, but when we came up with the original Côte d'Or for Atelier.
Yeah.
Casper, Dan, and Casey, and I were all smoking it, and everybody seemed to be loving it. And I'm like, yeah, that's it. And I went back to Pepin, and I said, Pepin, I need you to smoke this and tell me, because I'm having a problem with it. He goes, what's the problem? I go, there's something that's a little too aggressive. And he actually said, he goes, yeah, you need to cut the Pelle d'Oro in half. And so I did it without telling any of those guys. And the final product was actually because I went to the master.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you have to go back to the source, the
guy that knows,
Exactly.
that knows. I think he knows pretty well.
Well, and I appreciate that you use that word master, because that word gets thrown around a lot, whether we're talking about cigars or wine. And the fact is, it gets thrown around a lot for people who don't necessarily deserve it. And he's one of the few people, I mean, I can count on one hand the people that and this is just my personal opinion, mm-hmm. that I consider to be that worthy of the word master. And he is one of those people.
Yeah, it's for me. It's a guy that kind of knows every bit of everything about cigars and can sit down and roll that cigar.
Yeah.
And there's very few people like that. I've never met Eladio, but I would probably put him in that mix because I know he's a tobacco guy, and I know he's also a well-established blender, obviously,
Yeah.
and he is a guy that rolls cigars himself. Rolando Reyes Sr. was that type of guy. Pepin, obviously,
Yeah.
but there's few.
Benji Menendez.
Yeah, I mean, guys like that. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are gone that
Yeah.
I would put in that category. But I don't know. There's not a lot of factory owners that can actually sit down and whip you up a cigar.
Yeah. Yeah. So Arnold brought it up, and I'm not going to ask you to reveal anything, but I have to imagine that the wheels are turning as far as coming up with something to celebrate 20 years of Tatuaje. So
there's a lot of
what do
stuff.
you guys have, and again, if reveal as much as you're willing to reveal, but what are your thoughts as far as what you want to convey to people for the 20th anniversary of Tatuaje?
Well, I mean, it's definitely going to be an homage to where the brand started, because when I created Tatuaje with the Garcias back in 2003, it was always like an homage to old Cuba. And obviously throughout the years, I've done a lot of crazy things like the Monsters and Fausto, which is definitely not old Cuba. That's more New World. Even though it's an old Cuban brand name, it's more New World. So yeah, this is going to be more old school. And you kind of see it with when the Veracruz Blue, that's more old world styling than it is like the regular Veracruz, which is a little bit more punchy and New World. Veracruz Blue is more old school. But like I have cigars that I've put away already. Like there's my 50th birthday cigars were supposed to come out a few years ago. I'm holding those for 2023. Only because I like letting them sit. I'm sure my wife doesn't appreciate that I'm taking up space in her humidor, but like I swear to God, I have like 4 pallets of cigars sitting in their warehouse. And they're looking at it like, well, when are you going to take them? I said, no, next year. Like so I have a cigar called RL22, which means Reserve or Limited, made in Miami. It's more of a long Corona. And then I have a cigar called EL22, which is a traditional Robusto size that's also in a cabinet of 25 like the RL22. But that's more based off of the Escasos line. And then I have a cigar called Plus One that's resting right now, actually waiting for boxes. The other ones that I mentioned already are in boxes, aging in boxes. The Plus One, we're waiting on the boxes because I had a conversation with our box maker here in Miami that I wanted to make sure that the boxes were a certain way. And those are boxes of 10. It's a 5,000 cigar production, not a lot.
Okay.
And then that's a 5 7/8 by 52 classic, 6.6 size Corojo 99 shade grown wrapper. Beautiful. For me, it's one of my jams right now. I've been smoking a lot of them. Unfortunately, I won't smoke all of them before they come out. But it's got a covered foot. The reason Plus One, it's kind of a play off of Dion's Plus 53. But I actually don't do the plus symbol. I just call it plus spelled out, one spelled out also, to kind of make the joke of, it's made in Miami, so it's made in the United States. So plus one for the area code, or for the country code. You knew that story about plus 53. That's the country code for Cuba. That's why the name.
Yes, absolutely.
And then I have something in the works I can't talk about, but it's going to be more old school sizing. For sure.
Okay.
It's okay. Nobody watches this show, so you can talk about it.
Definitely in that like 47, 46 ring gauge.
You're talking dirty to Matt right now.
Mm-hmm.
Might
moves.
come in a very cool piece of packaging to celebrate 20 years. Aside from that, there's going to be other things coming out of Nicaragua. That's all Miami. There will be something coming out of Nicaragua, but mostly reduxes out of Nicaragua.
All right. I need a minute. I just you say 46 ring gauge and I get very tingly Yeah,
I love the 46.
Oh.
Hey Matt, I have a question.
Yeah.
And I don't want to step on the roll here that we're doing.
No, please.
But, you have a commercial coming up by any chance? I don't need to pee. I just want to go get it's hot as balls out here, and I want to get a cup of ice with maybe some liquor in it.
We absolutely, actually, we were right on the point where we're going to switch into Numero de los Muertos. So you have a couple minutes here to
put me on mute while I go get to the ice machine going and
absolutely
give me a glass of tequila or something.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Trust me, I won't drink enough to where I start stumbling.
I might.
All right, I'll be back.
All right. So Garrett, I think that means it is definitely time.
It is absolutely time.
All right. It is time for this week's Numero de los Muertos. And as always, on How About That Cigar Live, Numero de los Muertos is brought to us by our friends at Smoke Inn. All right.
Who doesn't love Abe?
You're hearing the squeak from my cork there. I apologize for that.
How dare you? Is that Four Roses? What is that?
Yeah, Four Roses.
Yeah.
Small batch.
Small batch.
All right, guys.
All right, Garrett.
We ready?
Yes, sir.
Sure.
All right. So this is an interesting one. Fun, quick little side story. My daughter had brought a couple friends up to our lake cabin this last week. And my daughter Kat asked me, she was like, Dad, what's one of those death statistic things you do for your podcast? And so I gave them one. And all week they wanted to do more and more and more. And it was so fun. And then they found one for me.
I love it. That is so cool. I love that.
It was awesome. And this one was actually really, really good. So it's a couple numbers here because there's not a really good average. Between 1990 and 2000, in the U.S., there was 11 deaths. Between 2000 and 2010, there was 24. Between 2010 and now, there's been 37.
Okay, so, and these are in the U.S.?
In the U.S.
Lyme disease.
Ooh, interesting. No.
So basically during certain time periods, there's been a steady increase.
Correct.
Okay, so staying up all night gaming. No.
The flu.
No.
So
it wasn't sleep deprivation.
Was not sleep deprivation.
My guess is because it increases and this most recent time period is higher. It's got to have something to do with social media or phones or something like that.
That's where I went with my line of questioning too.
And so you had to guess it with them. Wow.
Yeah.
That's next level.
Yep.
So it wasn't phone explosion, Quentin.
It's not phones, and it is not tech related.
Listening to HBTC.
Sorry.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's it.
That's fair.
That's got to be it.
Yep.
That's fair. Yeah.
Is it tech
So,
related?
no. Again, I'll give the numbers. Between 1990 and 2000, 11 deaths total. Between 2000 and 2010, 24. And since 2010 and 2020, 37.
All right. We already have great guesses in the comments. Keep them coming.
It is not polio. It is
All right.
not obesity
Is
of
it?
the nuts. No.
Is it?
Well, I'm not going to say something dirty because that would just be weird coming from kids. So
Right.
we'll stick away from that.
Correct.
Is it related to some form of disease or illness?
It is not.
All right. Would it be considered a workplace accident?
For these, very super rarely.
Are vehicles involved?
No.
Does it depend on kids or adults?
All ages.
All ages. Okay.
Not infants and not elderly.
Okay.
Teenagers?
Mostly teenagers.
Oh, hazing.
Ooh, that's
that's
good.
God, that's a good guess.
I got to look that up.
That's not it?
No.
God, I thought that would have been it.
Not-
All right. Do these deaths typically take place on land or water?
Land.
Lightsaber
Lightsaber duels. I love it.
Lightsabers aren't real. I mean, they sort of are real, but
What do they call it when those guys get together wearing costumes and LARPing? Is that what
LARPing.
LARPing.
Correct.
LARPing, yes. God, I love that you know that, Pete.
Well, dude, Matt, you don't remember there was actually was it not a LARP festival or whatever it was, anime maybe at the trade show one year? Remember that?
Yes.
In New Orleans.
Yeah, that was yeah.
Mm.
Interesting.
Okay.
No.
On land, I would say falling into a vat where they make wine or beer.
Interesting.
Drowning in a vat or wine or beer.
No.
I mean that's happened, so that's unfortunate.
Correct.
Yeah.
Nope. I'm going to go through some of these comments. It's not fasting. It's not furries.
Is social media involved in any way?
Is what?
Is social media involved in any way?
It is not.
Okay.
So here's what I'll say is all of us have done this activity.
Oh.
I've never LARPed. What are you talking about? And I've never been furry. Come on. Get your sick, twisted sense of humor out of there.
That's going to be the next monster series is the Tatuaje furry.
Shaving.
Ooh, that's good. No.
Are drugs or alcohol involved?
No.
Shit, I'm way off. Samsonite.
So close.
I'm not seeing it here, Lloyd.
Okay, and this is done for both fun, so people do this activity for fun,
Lawn darts. Someone said lawn
Lawn
darts.
darts.
I know, which is one of my favorite things to talk about is
Was
lawn
it
darts.
waxing? Rich Jordan says waxing. Please be waxing.
No,
Oh,
that's not
damn
a
it.
that's not a
God,
fun
I wish it was
activity.
I would say scuba diving is probably a lot higher.
I would think so too.
Plus,
Well,
that's
and
in the water, not on
we-
land.
Yeah, we already said it's land. Is it our vehicle? Oh, vehicles. I already asked vehicles.
Yeah, no vehicles. Not skydiving. Again, I can almost confirm that all of us have done this activity.
So it's a recreational activity.
Yes,
Men or women?
both.
Both.
Is
Cornhole.
it- Oh,
No,
is it,
sir.
is it an activity that involves music?
No.
No.
Quentin, stop with the ocean shit. It's not swimming with dolphins.
Yeah, it's not. It's not in the.
No
it's
water.
not in the water, Quentin.
In an aquarium.
Oh, is it softball?
Softball's a good guess, but no.
Sledding.
Is it a sport?
Ooh. So don't think of it as a sport. There are some people who do this as a sport, but I will say that in the last, I don't know, 15, 20 years, establishments have made a business out of this activity.
Rock climbing.
You're getting closer. It is not rock climbing. Not falling off a treadmill, not arm wrestling.
Is it zip lines?
It is not zip lines. So in the northern area, you can do this outside in the summer, but most of them are going to be found indoors. Here,
And
I will
it's-
say,
Bouncy house.
ooh, you're getting real close.
Oh shit.
And it's similar to rock climbing and bouncy house.
Falling from a carousel.
No,
It's
Roller
not a
derby.
bouncy house. I mean,
you're real close.
Adam said roller derby.
Not roller derby.
God. Paintball.
Yes,
Richard
it
Fox
is.
said paintball.
Jason, I'm giving it to. Oh,
I
shoot.
think is it
David
trampolines?
Floyd. David Floyd gets it with trampolines.
ah shit. Javier Estevez said it also. Trampoline.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, everybody. So yeah, trampolines, and it's on the rise.
Don't I get something for bouncy house? Come on, man. Not even a how about that cigar, free cigar, you know?
Yeah.
Well, we know a guy.
Participation trophy.
We might have one to give you.
Yeah, we got some
Sorry,
extra
Garrett.
cigars laying around.
Hey.
I think Pete might have some extra cigars laying around.
Sorry, Garrett.
Oh,
Oh, there you go.
I'm actually not smoking that. I'm smoking the misbanded Kohonu 2015. The bands are going to be showing up real soon, and actually they'll finally come out before the end of the year.
Nice.
If I got caught on here for a third cigar, that's the next one. So,
Nice.
and I hope I do because I enjoy talking with you guys. Was that the middle part of the show? Are we going for another hour and a half?
Oh,
No.
honestly, brother, whatever you want. This show is for you. The show is for you.
No, you don't know me, Matt. I love getting in conversations with guys, with anybody who wants to have a conversation, really. So, thanks for having me on again.
Oh, of course. So Garrett, I got to go back here. So, trampoline parks.
Mhm.
So my kids, we've taken the kids to trampoline parks
Me
before.
too. Yeah.
Now it's probably hard to imagine, but a guy who looks like me doesn't do so well at a trampoline park. You know, I maybe bounce twice and then I throw out something and something gets disjointed and then I'm done. I haven't been I can't do the trampoline parks.
So, I do have a question.
Yes.
Do you have the stats on this? My guess that it would be more adults hurting themselves and dying from it more than kids,
Yeah.
or is it really a mix?
I would have to think it's more
It's
the
sad
adult.
either way, but I mean,
Yeah.
like,
So
I couldn't even imagine like
I-
bouncing on
younger
trampoline.
children-
Slicer nailed it. Gordo ass foos on trampolines. Yes, I raise my hand and say yes. I am that foo.
Yeah,
the ages 13 to 19 are make up majority of that statistic.
so that's horrible.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
that's I mean, not that you want to see anybody go, at a trampoline park, but you would think that it would be the guys like me who are way out of shape, who have no business being on a trampoline and suddenly have some sort of heart issue, pop up. I don't want to see the kids go.
Well, and there's
Yeah.
so I know that in my city, I don't know if it's my city or my county. Well, Matt, you're in the same county, but we can't get homeowners insurance if we have one of those outdoor trampolines.
Really?
Yeah,
we're
it's one
in
of the
yeah.
questionnaires.
If we have, we'll get denied homeowners insurance if we have an outdoor trampoline.
Well, you could always buy it after you get the insurance, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Or people lie,
Yeah, we've never had a trampoline. We have family members who we've gone to, birthday parties at their house and stuff like that. They have trampolines out there. And we've taken the kids to some of these massive, and I'm sure you guys have seen these huge indoor trampoline parks where it's insane. I mean, you go there and it's like 12,000 square feet of nothing but trampolines and these big foam pits you can dive into. But just watching the kids jump around in those parks, like I throw out a hip. Just watching them do it.
Yeah, I'll tell you that my brother, if he's still on, might be able to correct me. But there was a guy that lived in our home state or near our hometown that was a ski jumper, a very well-known ski jumper when we were younger. And we had a fair in the park across the street from our house. And every year, if I remember correctly, he would bring out a giant trampoline and do these crazy flips, like really high trampoline, moves to emulate the stuff that he was doing on skis when he would do the ski jumps.
Yeah.
So maybe Casey can correct me on that one.
Quentin, I just can't even with you anymore. I just can't. It's trampoline in the ocean. I just can't with you anymore. And Adam asking,
that's actually a thing, by the way. That's a thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've seen it. So we have friends with lake homes, here in Forest Lake, and you go spend a day with them on their boats, and you drink and you smoke cigars on their boat out on the water, and they have these floating trampolines out on the water. And Adam, I love you, but is it Matt landing on top of a kid that takes him out? That is
Oh yeah, that's fucked up.
So in 2000,
and this is why everybody watches this show.
In 2018, 110,000 visits to the ER from trampoline-related accidents.
In 1 year?
In 1 year.
Yeah, and they were actually on America's Home Funniest Home Videos. Yeah. And I think they get replayed on TikTok and Instagram stories like constantly. So in between all the political shit, we got trampoline accidents.
All right.
They're on the Fail Army YouTube channel.
Right.
I figured the zombies would have gotten Quentin already. He survived a week. Yeah.
He was in the zombie.
And amazingly enough, there was not one trampoline accident of death in Jackass.
That's right. Yeah, they never did. They never really did.
And those were the guys that really were looking to die.
Oh my gosh. That was so.
That was a brilliant segment, by the way.
Big kudos to your daughter and her friends.
Yeah.
For that Numero de los Muertos. That was brilliant.
Well done. Tell them to stay off of trampolines for us, please.
Yeah. All right. So that was.
We don't want this to be a repeat thing,
No. That was this week's Numero de los Muertos. Okay, so Pete, we've got some new, fresh lightning round questions for you. We've had some in the past, and I actually went through. This is your. Okay, so if we're being technical about it, this is your 6th appearance on How About That Cigar Live, but technically it's only your 5th appearance because the first time we had you on was when we had the guys from the hand rolled movie.
Yes, yeah.
And you came on the show about midway through, and if you go back on Facebook and YouTube to watch that video, everything looks great and sounds great, but Pete's audio is gone.
That's
You
right.
You can't actually hear Pete.
I remember that.
So you can go back and watch it, but anything Pete says, you won't be able to hear it.
I purposely did that though.
Yeah, totally. Just keep the mystery alive. Okay, so for the new.
And by the way, thanks for mentioning Hand Rolled. What a great documentary. Not because I had anything to do with it.
No, but you had a lot to do with it.
Steve and Jesse put together a piece of art that really transcends time and can be watched for many years. A great person. I don't know his full name, but he goes by Big Ash on Instagram. Sent me a cool little 25-minute documentary about the boom ages in the 90s that I had never seen. If I did see it, I forgot about it. But it had Cynthia Fuente, Lido, Ernesto in it, and Oscar Baruchin, who owned Mike's Cigars.
Yes.
So it was really cool. I was actually happy to see it.
Yeah.
So thank you to him if he watches HBTC.
So Matt Vegdahl, you can watch Hand Rolled. You can go on Amazon Prime or Netflix, or I'm sorry, not Netflix. You can go on Amazon Prime
or Apple TV.
Amazon, because it's not part of your Prime package unless Amazon decides to do some special on it. But
yeah, you can purchase it for, I believe it's $14.99. And
I think you can rent it too, though, right?
You can, yeah. It's worth the purchase though, because I've watched it probably 10 times since I bought it, right out of the gate, and it's exciting and fun to watch, to just remember all these cool things from the history of the cigar industry. It's a very cool watch. It's totally worth it. And we ran into those guys at the PCA show. And we're going to try to get them back on again, just because they're cool guys. We just want to check in with them and say hi.
Yeah, they're great dudes, and they really care about the industry. And that's the biggest reason why they wanted to put it together. Trust me, none of us came out of it thinking that we were going to make money off it. It was really just a labor of love and putting together something special for the industry. So, it's going to turn 5 soon.
Isn't that
How about
crazy?
that?
That's insane, honestly.
And it still works. I mean, although maybe the time that Rocky talks about how Trump and Putin would get together, that we could probably cut that out and it would work better.
Yeah, maybe cut that part out. But some things don't age as well as others. That's okay. All right, so for the lightning round, that is always brought to us by our friends at J.C. Newman Cigar Company. They are America's oldest family-owned premium cigar maker, creators of the popular Brick House, Perla Del Mar, Diamond Crown, and The American. J.C. Newman Cigar Company operates out of their 112-year-old El Reloj cigar factory in historic Cigar City, Tampa, Florida. For more information on their cigars or their visitor experience, please visit jcnewman.com. So,
let me just say that family, the Newman family, is probably one of the best families in the industry. Drew Newman, who is, taking the company over completely, probably one of my favorite people in the industry. He's definitely the smartest guy in the room. It's just nice to listen to, what he has to say about the political struggles we deal with and, the FDA struggles we deal with. Again, the family, I can't say more about that family. They're just great people.
Well, and if you guys go back and watch our PCA trade show coverage, Garrett got taken on a history tour with Eric Newman, and it was maybe the longest interview we did at the trade. Typically our trade show interviews are like 3 to 7 minutes. This was 25 minutes that Eric took Garrett through a history lesson
in the museum.
Yeah,
A little mini museum. Yeah.
And it's so cool. And I encourage everybody to go back and watch that, because it's such, one of the things we love about this industry is the history, because none of us would be doing anything in cigars if it wasn't for the people who came before us.
Absolutely.
And it's so cool to see where, somebody in Cleveland, Ohio, because literally JC Newman started in a garage in Cleveland, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And to think of somebody starting a cigar factory that is now renowned around the world for some of the blends and the work that they're doing, that started in a garage in Cleveland, Ohio, is quite simply miraculous. So it's a super cool history lesson that we have on the PCA trade show coverage. So we really encourage you guys to check that out. It's super
and to
cool.
see, I mean, obviously Eric was more than happy to bring me around, tell me these stories. You could hear the passion that he has, the knowledge of the history of not only his family and his company and the industry, but I almost wish that the cameras would have been rolling after the fact, as
Yes.
we were off camera and he was being really candid, and he got so choked up at a moment that, and it was just such a beautiful moment. So to see that passion is incredible.
Yeah, it really is. That's one of the things that, yes, in the long run, they're dried leaves rolled up into tubes and we smoke them. But there is real emotion that comes from these families that put these products together. And there's hardship, and there's struggle, and there's sacrifice that has been made over hundreds of years to keep this activity alive that we love so much. And we find it very meaningful, and I know Pete does as well. And there's more to it than just the cigars and the hunt for the cool new thing. There's the history and the family stories that go into it are very meaningful to us, and we are grateful beyond measure to be able to bring stories.
If you haven't taken a tour of the facility in Tampa, you need to make sure it's a part of one of your stops. I actually took a tour with my sales rep in Tampa. Well, he's based in Miami, but we were up in Tampa doing events, and I made sure to go over there. And luckily Drew happened to be there. So we got a very quick, easy access tour.
Yeah.
But it's really cool. It's a great facility, and man, it's so nice now.
Yeah. And
I'll tell you, when they filmed the hand rolled segment for the Newmans, this was way before the renovation, so it was a different place altogether.
Yeah. Yeah, I know they were actually in the middle of remodeling, I think, when they were filming, Eric's interview. And
yeah, they actually did a bunch of other footage for the Newmans too.
Yeah.
After the fact. So
yeah, that's a tour that we long to take one of these days, and we just haven't had a chance to do it yet, but we'll definitely do that. So, all right, for the lightning round questions, Pete, you've had some of these questions before, so we have some fresh, new lightning round questions for you.
Okay.
So, to start off, if you were suddenly overnight a billionaire, what would be the first unnecessary thing that you would spend some money on?
Unnecessary thing?
Yeah, just a frivolous, like, I've
After
always
you
wanted
save the
this.
whales,
I would probably buy a big ass farm close by here in Florida, in Homestead. Buy a big ass property and open up a Rottweiler rescue.
Yes, I love that.
Because I a lot of people don't know, but I donate to a local Rottweiler rescue here, and we have one baby girl here. Well, she's our baby, but she's not a baby anymore. And that breed of dogs just really hit me hard, and it's actually touched my wife on her heart also a lot. So I think if I had just stupid money, unlimited resources, that would be one of the first things I would do.
Yeah.
I would make sure that a already established rescue was involved, but I would want to make sure that they were fully funded.
Yeah. I love that. Very misunderstood breed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Very misunderstood. Yeah. All right. So let's
Would I
say,
still make cigars? Someone asked me, Quentin, stop with the question.
Yeah.
But yes, would I still make cigars? I would make one.
The Rottweiler.
No, I would. No, I would make cigars. I would probably have a lot of parties and just give away a lot of cigars
yes,
because you can't take it with you.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
when you're talking about that much money, you could give away a lot of it and still have way too much.
Yeah.
So
The guy-
you might as well spread it out.
The guy who dies with the most toys still dies.
Mhm.
So you might as well give it away.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
By the way, one of my favorite movies, Brewster's Millions.
Oh my God, I love that movie. I
Great
just
movie.
watched that. Well, I shouldn't say just, but sometime during COVID lockdowns and everybody, you can't go anywhere or do anything. That popped up on Netflix, and I watched. I love that movie.
I love it. Great actors, great story,
Oh,
great outcome.
Richard Pryor is just
Yeah. John
So-
Candy.
John Candy, so good.
Yeah.
All right, so let's say you're out at a cigar club one night, and it's karaoke night at the cigar club, and the people there force you to get up and sing one song. What is the one song that you choose to get up in front of everybody and sing at karaoke night at the cigar club?
Oh, dude, well, everybody's most people would go in there and do Don't Stop Believing. It'd probably be a Journey song
Yeah.
because they're pick-me-up songs. I never remember the name of the song, but I love, and Abe got me on this one because he played a snippet of a song and you had to figure it out. And the lights go down in the city, whatever that song's called.
It's called Lights.
The City. It's called The City, isn't it? Or is it called
No,
Lights?
It's called Lights.
It's
The
Lights.
Journey song, yeah.
Fucking love that song.
That's
Love
a
that
fantastic song.
So that might be a good one.
I like it.
Absolutely.
It's easy.
So if you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, and you can't say money, cigars, or time, but you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Well, in today's days, I would take gasoline. No, unlimited supply. And honestly, just I think kisses from my dog would be. I would love to have like I don't know. I'm a sap when it comes to my dogs, and I think if I had an unlimited supply of Rottweilers, I would hate to pick up all their shit, but I don't know. It would be, I don't know. Like I'm a dog guy, that's it. But I don't need, give me steak. Well, no, I don't need an unlimited amount of steak. I don't need an unlimited amount of any type of alcohol. Cigars is, we already, I can't pick that anyways.
Yeah, plenty. So you don't have to worry about that.
How about love?
There you go.
Hmm.
There you go. That's
I love it.
fantastic. All right. So Garrett, hit him with the last one.
All right, Pete. So the zombies are coming. Okay. You can pick 3 industry people to be on your team to survive the zombie apocalypse. Who do you pick?
Well, I mean, it's easy. Pepin and Jaime are 2 of them.
Why them? out of curiosity, other than their family, which I get. But
Well, I mean, Pepin just has a lot of knowledge. This is a guy that didn't have much of an education in general, but his street knowledge is amazing.
Yep.
Jaime is just well versed on pretty much everything you can talk about. Last person, that's a tough one. I would have to pick one of my friends, and it would end up being between a guy like Huber or Herklotz or one of those guys. Just because I would have to be able to speak English to someone.
Yeah.
No, because I mean, there's a lot of great people in this industry, and I would have to probably think of one of my, similar age peers. I mean, okay, that's if I can't pick my wife, because I pick her also. But that's
Yes.
let's just
That's a given.
Yep.
Family is a given.
because
Who has the guns?
there's 3 people in the industry right there: my wife, my father-in-law, my brother-in-law. I'm done.
Yeah. Yep. Who has the guns?
Oh, the guns. Yeah, I
I
suppose.
need some of those.
Yeah, actually, my nephew.
There you go. There you go.
My nephew Handy, Handy's Jaime's son. I think he's got a few.
Perfect.
That's all you need. That's all you need. All right. So let's jump into this week's Notable Smokable. And Notable Smokables every week is brought to us by our friends at Ace Prime. Notable cigars, notable passion, notable purpose. And Pete, you know the drill. Each week we talk about a cigar we've smoked recently that was notable to us. It could be on the market for decades and we just smoked for the first time in a long time, or it could be a cigar that's brand new to the market that we smoked for the first time ever. So Pete, what is something you smoked? Obviously you're smoking mostly your own stuff, but when you jump outside of your own portfolio, what is something you smoked recently that was notable to you?
I can tell you, I'll be honest, I haven't smoked much out of the portfolio, especially in the last couple of years, because I've been working on a lot, and I want to make sure my palate is completely driven towards those products. So, I mean, if I had to pick something, it would be something from the factory.
Yeah.
Notable smokables, the Flor de las Antillas limited edition.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. That's an exciting project. That's a very exciting project because that I think back when that cigar won Cigar of the Year, a lot of people were not. That was kind of a dark horse. Not a lot of people were expecting that to win Cigar of the Year. And when it did, so many consumers went after that. I was one of those consumers that went after that cigar saying, I've never heard of this cigar. And I bought it and smoked it and loved it. So,
I think it's one of the perfect cigars in the industry.
Yeah.
As far as an everyday, should be in everybody's rotation, the Flor de las Antillas classic line it's there. It hits all the notes. It's got a great price point. It's got great flavor, and it's readily accessible. So, like, for me, it's a staple for the industry, and it needs to be in every store.
Yeah. Great blend. I really enjoy that one.
But the 10-year anniversary is a nice tweak on that.
Okay. Very excited to try that one. Justin, what was notable for you this week?
Last cigar of the day was Rockefeller Dominican Blue Pyramid cigar. So that was a good one that struck out to me for last week.
Very nice. Garrett, what about you?
I had the Bosphorus by
Osgener.
Yeah, Tim's. Yeah. How do you pronounce it? What's the name of the cigar, though?
I'm just doing it phonetically. It looks like Bosphorus. Bosph.
Yeah. I bought one. I have one in my travel humidor I bought a couple days ago at the shop, and I haven't smoked it yet.
I just had it, and without knowing anything about, and I knew nothing about Tim's brand or cigars at all. And
Did you have the Toro or the little short Robusto?
I had the Toro.
Okay.
See, the little short Robusto looks really nice.
Yeah, I bought the short Robusto. I haven't smoked it yet. So my notable this week was actually the 2022 version of the Ferry Otego Elegancia. So the Connecticut Shade. And honestly, I mean, I know there's obviously going to be slight differences from one year to the next, but it tastes pretty much the same as the 2021 version of the Elegancia. Really nice, creamy, mild, smooth cigar. Retrohale that has zero bite. That's
Correct.
one of the when the smoke goes through the nose and there's no harshness. That cigar has that, where it's just smooth and buttery and really, really nice blend that was put together. Absolutely.
Quentin said it's Bocephus.
Well, I thought it was Bocephus also.
So it could be.
That's Bocephus is what musician they called Bocephus?
That's Hank Williams Jr.
Hank Williams Jr. Yeah,
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And I was like, was it Bocephus? I don't. How do you spell it?
It's BOSPHORUS.
Yeah, so that's Bosphorus.
Bosphorus.
But Bocephus apparently is the way they're going with it. And I'm
Hank
fine
Williams
with that.
Jr. I don't think it is though.
Yeah, Bocephus is Hank Williams Jr. That's what is that song that was popular?
Who doesn't love Hank Williams Jr.?
What was that big song of his that was
You caught me off guard with that one too. I'm trying to remember
it.
it. The whole time I was thinking about it too.
Oh, all right. This is gonna bug me now. Garrett's gonna have to look it up while I'm doing my doing the closing coming attractions. So coming attractions for Born to Boogie. Thank you, Quentin.
Yeah,
the man with the plan. Born to Boogie. Yes, that is the song that I think of when I think of Hank Williams Jr. All right, so coming attractions on How About That Cigar Live. Next week on the 22nd, we have Enrique Cejas, and our coming attractions, as always, brought to us by our friends at AJ Fernandez Cigar Company. Born and raised in Cuba, AJ Fernandez now produces unparalleled premium cigars in Esteli, Nicaragua. The day-to-day operations at Tabacalera AJ Fernandez now produce unparalleled premium cigars, and they provide a blend, strength, and flavor profile to match the preferences of any premium cigar consumer, whether it's New World, Dias de Gloria, San Latano, Enclave, or Bellas Artes. You're sure to be satisfied with a premium cigar from AJ Fernandez. So don't miss next week when we have Enrique Cejas from Matilda Cigars on the show. So, Pete, if you would please give our viewers and listeners an idea where's the best place for them to keep up with everything you have going on.
Well, I mean, I'm on Instagram occasionally, Tatuaje Inc., Tatuaje Inc. I post a few things here in my story here and there, and then obviously with Pete Hassel Johnson on Facebook. But you can look up TatuajeCigars.com to look at the website, but we need a new website. So just stick with what I put out there on social media.
Yeah. Very good. Pete, do us a favor, if you would please stay in the green room for a few minutes after we go off the air.
Well, I'm here.
So for our viewers and listeners, guys, we want to thank you so much for watching this episode of How About That Cigar Live. If you have any questions for us, you can email us directly on the website, howaboutthatcigar.com. Make sure to find us on your favorite audio podcast provider and subscribe to the audio podcast so you don't miss any of those episodes. Be sure to go on our YouTube channel and click on the big fat red subscribe button. Thank you so much for that. And follow us on Facebook. If you guys, like I said, have any questions, you can email us on howaboutthatcigar.com. And of course, until we see you next time, burn cigars,
not bridges.
Thanks, guys.